It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's IndyCar night on iRacing. Hello again, everybody. I am Gary Gonzo, and welcome to race first coverage of round, 3 or 4 of Season 222 of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split, coming to you from Vice City and the Homestead Miami Speedway. Joining me for expert analysis of the booth once again from the NHR eSports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series is Stephen Larkamp. Now, Stephen, from all appearances, Homestead looks perfectly symmetrical in its design. However, as you know from driving it, many races here, each end behaves just a little bit differently. How do you begin to tackle Homestead?
Well, Homestead, as you said, looks can be very deceiving here. But one thing that I've been looking around here is that the common gripes about the setup with these Dallara IR18 chassis here, it's very easy to run a higher line here. That seems to be one of the preferred methods. Running a low line will certainly be more easier to attain in 1 and 2 with less adjustment made to the car. 3 and 4, though, that's going to be a very different ball game indeed. They're going to be running a bit of a higher line there more often than not. It's the little idiosyncrasies that you have to figure out here in order to be fast here at Homestead Miami Speedway. A lot of these drivers, of course, have raced at Homestead many a time. They're well accustomed to this place. It hasn't changed too terribly much since it was introduced to the iRacing service. Of course, it's very different than when it was first built.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
No, for sure. And Homestead is certainly unique among 1.5 mile tracks. That the way each of these corners work is very much a balancing act. A lot of these drivers have to play, not so much in the setup sense, but how much of an edge are you willing to take with that wall, and are you brave enough to go down to the low side to attempt to pass, or will it come back to bite you as you drift up off the corner and into the car next to you if you're not careful?
You see on the provisional poll right now is Dakota DeMid, friend of the show, at a 208 point. Oh, there goes Pinero. 209.165 now, provisional poll. Speaking of, let's talk about the IndyCar track records here. There's actually 4. We have the kart pre-98 original mini Indy configuration set in 96 by Paul Tracy, 198.5 miles per hour. Then we have the kart pre-93 flat oval configuration set in 98 by Greg Moore for 217.5. Then we have the IRL pre-2003 flat oval configuration set in 2003 by Tony Kanaan, a speed of 203. There seems to be a theme there. 203.5. And then the post-2003 banked oval configuration, which the IRL did run here, the very first, when the track was very first reconfigured that way. Sam Hornish, 218.5. So that is we're about 9 miles per hour off that track record right now. Incidentally, 2 other records to talk about. I believe Homestead is the site of the fastest 300-mile IndyCar race, and that was set, I believe, in 2009 by Dario Franchitti. No cautions, average speed of 201.4. Wow. I mean, talk about flying around that track. And then, of course, the all-time winners, Sam Hornish, Scott Dixon, Dan Weldon, all have 3. Michael Andretti has 2. So stand by the garage area. It's time to go racing. But with that, it's time to look at the starting lineup from Homestead. But before we do, and if you enjoy race first coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fix and you respect the weekly stream, make sure you support us by smashing the like button below and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next race. We're also interactive, so shout out to your favorite driver or team, or let everyone know who was at fault for that last crash. We might see some tonight with the YouTube live chat function during the stream. Now let's get into it at Homestead with your starting lineup, and we'll get it up on the screen here, is Stephen Larkamp.
Adriano Pinero, once again, absolutely dynamite in the qualifying so far, but this time only 7 1/1000ths of a second behind him is the number 2 of Pablo Diaz-Francis. These two are looking to be pretty rapid tonight. We'll see who comes out on top. Can Pinero get 3 in a row on Monday nights? Dakota DeMay starts 3rd, as we said before. Had a bit of a moment there at the start of his qualifying run, but he rallied very well to get P3. Cesar Cabral alongside the number 6 in the number 20 machine in P4. Very good qualifying for him. Trey Shadid starts off another good streak of qualifying runs, qualifying 5th here in the number 3, alongside the number 5 of Alexandre Ragon. Hamilton Akabueze in the number 10 starts 7th alongside the 18 of Bruno Romanzini, another guy who's been putting in very solid runs as of late. Same can be said for Rafael Eckert on row 5, starting 9th in the 13 machine alongside the 17 of Stephen Lee. Bruno Miranda starts 11th in, fittingly the number 11 machine, and also alongside him, matching number with grid slot, the number 12 of Justin the Commodore Dorr. Alan Morea's number 14 starts 13th, breaking that little combo there, alongside the 8 of John Silva. Matt Mercer's number 9 starts 15th, alongside the 4 of Adriano Fraporti, 15th and 16th. Mark Murphy starts 17th in the number 7, alongside Daniel Riferos, number 19. Matt Houston, the head of Raceverse himself, starts off in 19th, alongside the 15 of Beto Sousa, rounding out the top 20. And shotgun on the field, the only driver to not post a qualifying time, the number 21 of Nathan Solano. Start to roll off here. You can also, one other thing I've noticed, of course, with Homestead Miami, you can, of course, run up to that high line immediately if you're starting on the outside lane there. It won't bop you for it, but you wouldn't want to go on the inside anyway if you're on the outside lane anyway, because that is a very narrow pit exit. They will have to utilize that. That's one of the features of Homestead. They have to utilize the entry and exit roads coming on and off of pit road.
Yes, it's the one of the few tracks that actually they do that. We see some other tracks that have that pit road, but don't enforce that. This is one of the few that does.
Pace car about to peel off. 75 laps here at Homestead. Pinero gets on the throttle. Green flag in the air. We're underway in Miami. PDF staying with them there. Cabral looking to the outside of Dakota DeMeg as they head into turn number 1. And alongside them, Trey Shadid looking to make some moves up there.
Sideways, but he gathers it.
Oh, close quarter stuff there. Very close there. They keep it together. Big wreck in the back.
We got 3 in the rack.
Alan Morea's around. Another one around. Oh, 3 cars in that one. No caution as of yet. Pinero will lead lap number 1, but it looks like we may avoid having a yellow after a 3-car pileup off of turn number 2.
And they're still green.
They are still green, amazingly. Pinero out to a good lead over PDF, but looking to the inside of him, once again, it's Dakota DeMeg. He gets by Cabral, looking to take that second spot away. And it looks to me the cars involved are Alan Morea, Matt Mercer, and Mark Murphy, unfortunately out of the race on lap number 1. A big shame for those guys looking to make some noise from the mid-pack.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was back there that got... might have been, I think it was Hamilton there in the red car, got squirrely in turns 1. There he is underneath... for Porty making side-by-side, getting ready to pull off this pass here if he makes it into turn 1. Actually, the high line is the faster line around here, at least when it comes to defending. But he was in that red Ferrari-looking scheme, and he got a little sideways between turns 1 and 2 in the banking, recovered, managed to make it a lot less serious-looking and more of a just a Tokyo Drift type of let's call it a highlight.
Indeed, there. It's hard to make that sort of drift work there. A lot of these cars, if you get into that sort of situation, you are going to be going around. Excellent car control on his part to keep that thing going. But PDF, about 0.7 of a second off of Pinero, and likewise back to Dakota DeMeg. Cabral and Ragon, meanwhile, game on right now for P4 as we're working lap number 5. Ragon looking to the high line, trying to get a run on that number 20 machine for 4th.
There's Romanzini and Miranda side by side. Romanzini getting into position coming off of turn 4. Romanzini, or it looks like Miranda's kind of in a run-of-the-mill looking not U2 painted, iRacing painted car. Nothing special for him. Maybe decided to throw whatever brings you here, just drive it.
Not very special a paint scheme to be sure, but he's looking to make some special moves right now on Romanzini. Try to have a look to the high line there in turn number 3. Not quite enough to get up alongside him. But this battle looks to be pretty fun in its own right. And Stephen Lee behind them in the number 17. He's looking to make some noise as well. And now once again, side by side, Romanzini trying to defend the high line from Miranda. Miranda looking all the way down on the low line. Let's see what happens when he drifts back up there. No, he actually does manage to make it stick. Is that little intricacies you got to figure out here. Miranda does lead him across the line. We'll see if that low line continues to work for him.
Yeah, each one of these exits of these turns, these cars like to get very loose there, depending on your weight jacker settings. So watch exits of those turns. Actually, the lap 1 incident was kind of an example of that. Bruno gets really close to Bruno. Well, Bruno on Bruno violence there.
That's exactly what I was talking about before. If you don't, and Stephen Lee looking to take advantage of that down the low line himself. But that's what I'm saying about the low line here at Homestead. It's a sort of a gamble you have to take, whether the grip will be there on that low line on the corner exit. If it works, it works well, like what happened with Bruno Miranda. If not, and you're not careful, probably end up with a few scars like Chris Rock.
We were going to work one in, at least one reference in the night. That was for sure. Wow, look at Stephen Lee just power underneath Bruno Romanzini. Looks like Romanzini might have to get up near the wall and have to roll out of it a little bit, and Stephen Lee just rolls right on by underneath.
Brilliant run by the Samsung machine of Stephen Lee right there, and Romanzini. That's sort of the line you gotta be wary of right there. Even the high line has got its perils to it. That wall is incredibly close. If you don't get the line just right, you could very much run right up under the wall, and you'd have to back out. And that might be what happened to sacrifice 7th position to Stephen Lee. And now Rafael Eckert looking to make some moves, trying to move himself up a spot. Started 9th, he's running 9th, but now he's looking to the low side of Romanzini. Romanzini's definitely struggling right now. They work their way through 1 and 2. Can Romanzini recover there? Not quite enough. Move Rafael Eckert up 1 more spot to P8. This is not looking to be a very fun first stint so far for that number 18 of Bruno Romanzini.
Well, still early. A lot can happen here. We can get a caution grouped up the field. He can get in there, make a pit stop, make some changes.
Meanwhile, looking at the gaps up front, it's a 1.3 second lead for Adriano Pinheiro, looking to make the three-peat here tonight on the Monday night broadcast. He's had spectacular runs at both Charlotte and Phoenix. Let's see if he can make it 3 for 3 at Homestead. But PDF still trying to lie in wait there, seeing if the strategy will work in his favor. And Dakota DeMeg doing likewise in his battle with PDF, sitting there in P3.
Now it looks like Dakota's running a little bit lower in turns 1 and 2 than PDF and Pinheiro. They are right up on right in that third lane, right up against the wall. Looks like Dakota's right there in that second lane, right above the bottom of the track there.
Sort of running a middle groove there. It's certainly possible to do here at Homestead. You have to move well beyond the base tool settings in the car there to be able to make it work efficiently. But again, as we've said before so many times here, what it could very well come down to as well is that game of find the clean air. He doesn't want to be running in the direct slipstream of PDF going into the corner. That'll cost him a lot of grip and a lot of speed on the entry to the corner, and that forward bite could well be pivotal.
Well, there goes Dakota up to the high line this time. So he's trying some different lines. He has a bit of a buffer zone between himself and P4 that he could try some of this stuff, but he has gone to the high side, kind of echoing what they're doing up in front of him. But there we see that P2, or actually Pablo Diaz-Francis. But the closest battle we have on the racetrack right now is back for that 10th position, Bruno Romanzini and John Silva. Silva is right on his gearbox, trying to find a way around the number 18, and 18's been nothing but falling back right now since the start of this race.
Sad to see, especially after such a strong start for Bruno Romanzini, but he is under severe pressure right now between John Silva and also Trey Shadid getting himself in on the party as well. He's looking to the low side of Silva right now for P10, not quite making it work there yet. He'll continue to do so in 1 and 2. Silva trying to work that higher line. Shadid down low. He's got great grip on the low side. Move Trey Shadid up to P10. Oh, here comes, a little contact there between Silva getting right into the rear of Trey Shadid. If this were a real-world IndyCar race, that front wing would probably be destroyed. But Shadid holds on to the spot well at the moment. we'll see. This battle's looking to be far from over right now.
So what you got going on there is that high line, even though it's not the fastest way around, or in terms of time, it actually is the fastest way around in terms of where you get your trap speeds from. And if you could keep that high line and bring it down that straight, you can actually kind of move on the outside of the, along with the draft, kind of make an outside move on the car in front of you, and that car in front of you, or actually that's down on the bottom lane, really just wants to float up to that wall. And by the time they look up and see that they're ready to make that completion of the turn up near the wall, all of a sudden they look in their mirror and here comes a car rocketing on their right side as they are running the high side. So you got to be careful of that when you're running down low and you got cars running up high around you, especially at this place. And right now we've got Justin Dorr, the Commodore. He is navigating that high side and trying to do exactly the same thing.
It's something reminiscent of some of the great finishes of the old IRL days here on the mile-and-a-half tracks like Homestead, Miami, Chicagoland, and the like. They would have very close finishes, and usually the guy up on the high line would be the victor to that great momentum off the corner, and a lot of times it would be Sam Hornish Jr.
Yeah, well, most of the time Sam Hornish Jr., yep.
Indeed, we'll see if someone can make a pretty good Sam Hornish impression. And right now, John Silva, again, trying to make the run now on Romanzini. He's got a great run up the corner, looking to the low side now of that number 18 machine. He will clear him for the time being. Can Romanzini get up there? He gets way too close to that wall there, and that coughs up the spot to John Silva's number 8 machine.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that a number of times the victim of that close Sam Hornish finish seemed to always be Scott Dixon.
It would.
It was most of the time it was Scott Dixon.
Yeah, it was either Scott Dixon or Elio Castroneves.
Of course, the Homestead Miami Speedway was built as a tourist kind of a revitalization effort after a hurricane came through and kind of flattened the area. In the early 90s, they built a track here that was actually modeled after Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a mini Indy, a mile and a half, 4 distinct corners. They ran that for about 2 seasons, but unfortunately, it just didn't. It looked good, and it probably, in theory, probably raced well, but it ended up having a death in the Nemechek family during a truck race there, and really the angles that the corners opened the cars up to wrecks. Hitting the wall flush and square is ultimately what caused them to move away from the mini Indy configuration and go to the flat paperclip that we kind of see today. It started as a flat oval, and then after 2003 they built up the banking to kind of make it a little bit faster and allow side-by-side racing.
Speaking of side-by-side racing, we're getting more of it here. Trey Shadid and Bruno Romanzini. Justin Dorr has already cleared both of them. He's moved himself up to P10. Great job for him so far. But Shadid on the low side on Romanzini. Romanzini's tires are likely cooked at this point. He may have put in a bit too much effort than he should have. Maybe the wrong settings on the weight jacker or on the Andy roll bars, and it's cost him grip over the course of the run there. And we move Romanzini down another spot, down to P12. Very rough start so far for that number 18 machine. As we move Shadid back up to P11. Shadid had a terrible start, I should note. He started 5th. Now down in 11th there, so he's got a lot of work he's got to do if he wants to get up to around where he started this race.
Just caught the last half of the pass between Eckert and Miranda for P6. Eckert got the position and is slowly pulling away. Now he's looking to get a little closer to Alexander Ragon, who's in P5 right there. Ragon is in a battle with Dakota. He is caught up to him. Right now, this is a battle for 4th.
Indeed, he has caught back up to him, and we're right around the start of the pit stop window here. Ragon on the low side there. DeMate is going to get a bit of a run off the corner there, but Ragon looking to have very strong grip on the low side right now, working lap number 29 here, as Ragon drifts up a little bit, not quite enough to be a threat, but DeMate, this battle seems to be sticking pretty well between these two. As we're gone on the low side there, he will clear Dakota, so move him up to P4 for the time being.
Riding along Dakota right now. Look at him in the draft. Getting down the 4th gear in these corners. That's a lot of people that are watching IndyCar racing for the first time. These guys are doing a lot of work as they make a single lap here. It's just not putting your foot down and planting and turning left. They're adjusting anti-roll bars, the front roll bars, the rear roll bars, the weight jacker, brake bias, engine mapping, and even shifting gears multiple times a lap. So even though it's a fixed setup race, you could be a very busy pilot in one of these cockpits.
Very much so, and I definitely speak for experience on that one. This car it may look simple from the outset, but when you look at everything and you look at everything you need to have to run fast in these Indy cars, it's a very complicated balancing act you've got to play. And to maximize your tire wears, Dakota runs right up towards the wall there. He's really looking to stay out of the draft if we're gone there, but it's cost him a lot of time. He's dropped 7/10 back, and now Rafael Eckert wants a shot at him for P5. Eckert looks like he has a bit of a run coming down the back straightaway. Looks to the inside in turn number 3. Dakota trying to run the high line there, trying to get the momentum off the corner there. He will have the run. He will lead him across the line there, but Eckert seemingly has a lot of grip on the low side there. His car working very well for him at the moment, and he does clear him coming off a 2. Move Eckert up to P5. Dakota lost 2 spots already. This is looking to be a bit of a challenge so far for our old friend.
Yeah, he's wanting that pit stop to get here rather soon. And actually, like you said, they're already in the window, and there is a car on pit road. Not sure who it was, but there was already a car on pit road. We're in the window to make it to the end if they need to do that.
That is Hamilton Akabueze down on pit road right now in that Ferrari livery. Bit of a slippery pit entry here. He got it down there well. And we'll see. This is rather early in the cycle, of course, but given the tire wear that a lot of these guys may be dealing with, some of them may want to come down early. If some of them are dealing with it better, though, they'll want to stay out for a long time.
Hamilton got a speeding penalty. He is now sitting in there waiting for that timer to tick down. So, unfortunately, speeding penalty for him. But we'll get back here on the track and check out how Pinero's doing. And Pinero actually is getting around, I believe, lap traffic.
And another driver I should note that came onto pit road early in this cycle is the 17 of Stephen Lee, who is fighting in the top 10 right now. He's got himself on those fresh Firestones. Let's see how much time he can make up running what hopefully for him will be clean air around him. And with fresh rubber, he could probably make up some time on the cars he was battling with if we don't get a caution.
But the problem with doing that here is that you're going to be running these tires on a very extremely long stint, and they're going to be pretty well spent if you run the good off in its first 10, 15 laps of this current stint, because this is the long stint. A couple of people have pitted already. That is now the short stint to get to the window. The window's open, but now it's a long 50-lap haul. Now actually kind of another 35-lap haul to the end here.
Indeed, it's that balancing act you got to play.
Dakota DeMate on pit road. Sorry. Here he is rounding turn 4, getting to the cones, getting down to the speed limit. First
Bruno
among
Miranda's
the leaders.
in as well, and Romanzini came in on the previous lap. DeMate in particular trying to make up ground in his battle with Alexandre Ragon. We'll see if this is the strategy that will work in his favor. Gets himself into his pit stall. The concrete here can be kind of slick. You gotta be very careful not to overshoot your marks.
Looks like Hamilton is back in, and the number 10 behind Dakota there on pit road. Dakota is down and away. Good to go to the finish.
We will see overall if this strategy works in his favor. And right now, the likes of Dakota DeMate, Stephen Lee, and Bruno Romanzini, they are praying that they do not get a caution. They are 1 lap down right now as it stands. And Bruno Miranda has actually stopped on pit road. He's not going. He may have gotten a speeding penalty as well, perhaps.
Yeah, he has a long stop there.
Very long stop. Dakota DeMate is long gone at this point. So very strange. We'll see if Miranda keeps going here. But speeding penalties especially here in iRacing, can be incredibly brutal. It's not just it's not so much that you have to come back on the pit road to serve the penalty, but you are sitting there for 40 seconds. And here at Homestead, that's nearing on 2 whole laps. That is pretty much game over for any sort of serious chance of victory. Unless, of course, her name is Jacques Villeneuve.
Right. And but Jacques did it the hard way. He didn't have the aid of any waiver rounds, which you can get now, depending on where you get picked up by the pace car. But, if you get the penalty, not just the time sitting on pit road that's going to cost you, but it's the time coming into your stall, speeding, slowing down, speeding up, getting back up to speed, merging with traffic. You could definitely go down 2 full laps very easily.
Very easy to do so.
Wow.
Pablo Diaz-Francis actually had a moment here. I think he got loose. He's down 6.4 seconds. He saved it, but I saw him slow coming down the front straightaway for a little bit, but he's managed to gather it up. But now he's side by side with Rafael Eckert for P2. This battle's just turned interesting.
Trying to see who was racing with Pinero there. They had the new tires, and they just blew right by him.
That is Cesar Cabral in the number 20.
Okay.
He also came in early.
Yep. Yeah, that's the difference with new tires doing right now. Cabral last time by did a 26 flat. Pinero did a 27-1.
Oh, Pablo Diaz-Francis comes on the pit road. That is an unsafe entry. I think what happened, he missed his entry there.
Well, you can't do that.
You can't do that. That's a penalty for Pablo Diaz-Francis. Oh, no. That is, sadly for him, that is game over. Very likely for a chance of victory for PDF. That is, frankly, an unforced error in many ways. With as many laps as he's turned here around Homestead, I would wager he probably realized that he wanted to come in when he did and should have just waited another lap, I think.
Well, everyone is pitted up to P7. Pinero, Eckert, Silva, Shadid, Dorr, Rafero, Fraporti, all 46 laps. Beto Sousa, 45 laps on this current stint. So they are looking to come in probably in the next, I would say, 3 to 4 laps.
Everyone on the long strategy here. We're about to see their advantage come into play as well. When they come in on fresh tires, they're going to have more incentive to just go as hard as they can, within reason, of course, so that they have a fast final stint here. This is when the fast guys are going to go all out, and the guys on the early strategy, maybe it's somewhat of a disadvantage, but we'll see where the cards fall for everyone involved here. Pinero not coming in quite yet. We'll see probably another couple laps right now as Pablo Diaz-Francis, I saw, is off of pit road once more after serving that penalty, but 3 laps down, I should say, at the moment. That is, unfortunately, the death sentence for his chances here tonight in all likelihood.
There's John Silva in P3, surrounded by cars with new tires right now. He's just trying to let everyone by without being a moving chicane.
Trey Shadid also in amongst them, and Justin Dorr, who is trying to stay out there as Dorr cuts right across the corner to make. He's come on the pit road. He's had enough at the end of lap number 49. But Pinero still staying out on lap 50. Let's see how long he can keep this up, and let's see if this whole game works for him as he's running in the slipstream of PDF, as PDF is trying to work on fresh tires right now, trying to make up as much time as he possibly can, maybe salvage a spot or 2. But Pinero, the longer he keeps running, I wager that he's going to be at a bit of a disadvantage to the guys that have made up time on fresh tires, and he's going to have to make all that back up on this final stint.
27-3 last time by, 27-3. And then he might be making that dive down to the, there he is, right, making the dive. He's coming in now. Got a very slippery pit in here. Got to take this very gently, very easily for your car to spin out there. And brings it around the corner on the cones. Looks like he's right to the pit limiter. And now he makes this long drive down pit road to his stall. Here comes Eckert as well. Shadid now picks up the lead as he's now 52 laps of the current stint. And now he's the one wanting the caution to happen because he's going to put the field down at least a lap.
More of the lead lap runners are coming in. Keeping an eye on Pinero. Has that first pit stall down and away.
7.8.
Let's see where this puts him.
7.8 in the box.
Good stop for Pinero there. Shadid still staying out meanwhile.
Stephen Lee gets around him. Ragon gets around him. So Lee and Ragon, with the early stops, have managed to jump position ahead of the leader. But now Pinero, and you're going to see what these new tires are going to do, the difference between Pinero and Ragon right here. But Pinero is just going to hold the bottom, power right on by, and he might actually have Lee by the time he gets to the back of the back straight here.
Stephen Lee with a fantastic strategy on this one. He's gained a lot of spots from this, but Pinero dives it down to the low side. Lee having to give way. Pinero cycles back up in front of him.
Pinero, new tires. He's light on fuel, or lighter on fuel than everyone else around him. He's going to be setting the fast laps here.
And the last of the front runners, Shadid and Fraporti, are both coming on the pit road now.
You see the fastest laps of the race. Pinero only a 2:04. We're going 2:06.8. Also Eckert with a 2:06.8. Those seem to be the fastest laps turned today so far.
Pinero once again cycles back to the lead. Alexander Ragon under pressure now from Stephen Lee. Lee trying to stick his nose in turn one.
Off. Wow, and he managed to save it up near the wall, but he chopped the nose off.
Great recovery by Stephen Lee. Unfortunately, it's cost him that momentum he had trying to put the pressure on Ragon. Ragon chopped his nose. He took the front arrow off, and we'll see if Lee can make that back up. But Ragon on fresher rubber, that is likely going to be a problem there for Lee. And now he's going to be under pressure now from Dakota DeMeg, who's putting in mega fast lap times right now, trying to close back up.
26.6 last time by.
Eckert has actually gotten by DeMay, I should say. He's moved himself up to P4, and we'll see what he can do to catch up to Stephen Lee.
Eckert.
And we'll see if Lee's strategy will net him some positions. It has at the moment. Is looking pretty promising so far, but
Eckert,
now the pressure is going to start to build.
Eckert was turning 25-second laps, so he was the fastest car on the racetrack. He's turned a 26 flat that time by. Fastest car on the racetrack, though, is Pinero, 25.8.
As Pinero builds himself back up to a 2.8 second lead over Ragon. The battle is on. Eckert looking to the inside of Stephen Lee for P3. He clears him pretty handily right now. Lee's tires are definitely on the back end of their lifespan. He turned a 27.3 on that last lap to Eckert's 26.1.
Yeah, Lee's 25 laps into this current stint, so his tires are pretty much halfway through a stint and halfway done.
Lee's tires are very much on the back foot, and the same can be said with the upcoming clash with Dakota DeMeg, who's trying to make up ground as well. He'll be battling him for P4 here. But another driver who has made some fantastic space up over this last run is Justin the Commodore Dorr. He started 12th, running 6th right now just by good strategy and frankly by being patient with his moves. He's done very well for himself so far in this race.
Well, look who's in P7, up 12 spots. It's the boss man, Matt Houston, looking for a top 10 finish. Last time we saw him on the program, he had a moving target on himself that for some reason, he managed to finish the race, but I swear he was in like 3 different wrecks. But Matt cruising right now to a top 10 P7, kind of by himself in traffic. He's a little ways from behind Dorr. He might have time to catch him, but you never know what's going to happen. A yellow might shrink this field back up, and he might have a shot at picking up some positions late in this race. But the boss man, Matt Houston, up 12 spots to P7.
Fantastic run so far from Matt Houston indeed. But looking at Pinero right now, the gap has opened up substantially. He's got lap cars in the way, but having a look behind them, Dakota DeMeg and Stephen Lee, their lap times have sort of evened out at the moment. DeMay, of course, came in early on his stop. But meanwhile, behind them, Justin Dorr came in late. He's on fresher tires right now, and he's putting in some mega fast laps right now, about 8/10 up on Dakota DeMaeg's laps. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can make the moves work and catch up to him. Time is running out. The caution's out.
Cesar Cabral.
Cesar Cabral in turn number 1. That number 20 machine, unfortunately, and looks like to me, netcode contact I'm seeing right now with Pablo Diaz-Francis. And that brings out the first caution of the night, working lap 63 of 75. It was a fantastic run for everyone. And now, unfortunately, we have to slow things down.
Yep. That was a netcode incident. I mean, Pablo was looking for a top 15. Cesar was kind of off the pace. I don't think they were on the same lap. So I think it was just one of those things where at this time Pablo was faster than Cesar and wanted to get by. So he is by, but that now shrinks the field up. So we have 3 Brazilians in the top 3 spots, and then we got Stephen Lee and Dakota DeMaeg and Justin Dorr kind of fighting.
Coming in. Pinero looking like he's coming onto pit road, whereas the rest of them...
Interesting.
No, Dakota DeMaeg's coming in, and Stephen Lee.
All right, so there is time for these guys to storm to the front. They're going to use these new tires, and they're only going to need them for about 10 laps or less. But Pinero did give up the lead. There was a three-way march there by the Brazilians, taking up the first 3 spots, and then it was kind of between Dorr, Lee, and DeMaeg for kind of best in class as they were kind of lagging behind the Brazilians. But there you see all the cars on pit road. We got Pinero on pit road, Rigon on pit road, DeMaeg on pit road, Lee on pit road. That turns the lead over to Eckert. Now, there's 2 cars in front of him that are going to get the wave around here with actually 4 cars in front of him that are going to get the wave around here with 1 to go. And then he's going to have a bit of a buffer behind him that is... for Porty, but actually we're in the window that all lap traffic are going to get filtered to the back. So actually the leaders Dorr will now move up in front of Porty and be directly behind Eckert when we go back to green.
That, of course, is the rule. Below 20 laps to go in the race, the lap cars will be put to the back here. So... having a look at everything, seeing how everything cycles out. A lot of guys came in on fresh tires right now and coming to take fresh rubber. And some of the lap cars, I'm seeing Pablo Diaz-Francis coming onto pit road as well. So initially, I will admit I was a bit skeptical by this move. With a few laps to go in the stint, I wouldn't have sacrificed track position here, but a lot of guys behind them came in early, so they pitted for fresh tires because they felt it was the better option for them anyway. Pinero is still in P3. I think I like Pinero's chances once more now that I see everything has gotten itself squared away here.
Yeah, and Matt Houston's worked his way up to P6, Dakota back to P7, but everybody with new tires, it's Eckert and Dorr who decided to opt for track position. Now, this is one of the tracks that if you can keep the car behind you, you can be a slower car and the aero wash will keep the car behind you. This is a very good track for saving fuel. You can turn down the engine mapping to a lower setting here and still be able to keep the car behind you because of the aero wash. But what we got going on here is you got Pinero, Rigon, Lee, Houston, DeMaeg, all with fresh tires. They're going to be hugging that bottom line like it's their best friend and they haven't seen him for 10 years.
Indeed, that is going to be, everyone's going to be scrambling for the low line, trying to play defense, especially the 2 leaders right now. Also, one thing I will say, like we've talked about Matt Houston, his great run to the field. There's a couple of others here that I've noticed have made some very great performances, gaining a lot of position. Justin Dorr, of course, is one of them. Started 12th, currently running P2. Nathan Solano started dead last in 21st place. He's up to 10th. And Daniel Rafero started 18th. He's up to 11th. So quite a few guys here have made some very good moves just by a lot of them being patient, a lot of them with some daring to them. We'll see which one of them pays off here, but these guys have put in great performances so far.
Persistence.
As we're getting ready for our restart.
Persistence, yes, for sure. We're coming to green here. As you see, the cars will be taking their familiar line, hugging the wall there. That will prevent the cars from passing them on the right side. You can only pass on the right side before the start-finish line. If you do that, if you pass on the left side before the start-finish line, is a penalty. That is a NASCAR rule that IndyCar is adopting because of the service. It's not necessarily an IndyCar rule. If this is a real IndyCar race, they would be actually middle of the racetrack right now. That pace car would be pitted, and they'd be coming up to speed. And by the time they get to the start-finish line, they're pretty much at 100% power.
Speaking of 100% power, we're about to get it. Starting lap number 68. The laps are winding down here. Eckert jumps on the throttle early there, leaves Dorr behind. Pinero right up on his gearbox right now as we go back to green. Pinero looking all over the rear. Is he going to try the high line here or the low line? We'll see as they work their way up to speed off of turn number 2. A slow car I'm actually seeing down the back straightaway. Dakota, and is that Dakota DeMeg? It is! Dakota DeMeg has hit something. He is slow. He's pulled it off to the inside there. I don't think it's a caution, but Pinero gets the run on the low side of Dorr for P2. Dorr came very close to the wall there. He holds on to it for now, though.
Yeah, Dorr is going to keep his foot buried in that thing, even if it means putting it into the wall at this point. He is holding off Pinero because of that aero wash. Here goes Pinero going down low. He's going to go to the middle of the racetrack, kind of force Dorr up a little bit. Dorr just scoots right by on the high side and gets a great run, and then gets a bit of advantage going down the front straight over P2, over P3.
I think I saw Eckert actually ran that lower line there. I think he may have took a bit of front arrow off of Pinero there, and that cost them a lot of momentum in the middle of the corner there. But Pinero still trying to stick with them there. He's on the fresher rubber, but we're running out of time. We're coming to 5 laps to go. Can Rafael Eckert pull an upset victory, and will Justin Dorr hold on to a great podium finish here tonight?
And here comes Stephen Lee. Stephen Lee last time by a 25.8. Pinero a 26 flat. So 2/10 quicker that time by. Here comes Stephen Lee.
Stephen Lee's put in a great drive so far tonight. Started 10th. He's currently running in 4th. Can he stick with Pinero, and can he get an advantage over Justin Dorr if Pinero and Dorr get into a fight here? But now he's under pressure from Alexandre Gone for P4 here. He's going to have to play some solid defense right now and hope against hope.
He just played
two guys in front of issues.
He just played eat my wash right there as he went right down to the low line, right where Ragon was, and says, "Eat my bad air." Don't think about it right now, as he's trying to put a bit of a buffer between himself and Ragon and still try to get to Pinero. But using the bad air to his advantage, Stephen Lee keeping Alexander Ragon at bay.
I guess you could say the IndyCar version of "Eat My Shorts," says Stephen Lee to Alexandre Gone. But now Pinero, I'm seeing, has caught back up to Dorr. He's looking to the low side. Dorr sort of running a middle groove. Pinero's got the grip now. Can he do something about it? He looks all over the rear. He's going low now. To the inside in turn number 1. 2 laps to go. Eckert has opened up a 1-second lead there. He's looking strong right now for the win. But Pinero trying to salvage a P2 out of this.
He can't get by! He can't get by! It's going to hold him up!
He can't do it yet. He's looking down low. Off of turn number 4. Eckert will see the white flag for the final lap. Pinero does get a great run off of turn number 4 now. Still side by side. Pinero led that battle over the line. Dorr trying to run the high line there. Oh, I think he's running low on grip there. Yes, he has to yield that position. Pinero holds on to P2. But Rafael Eckert, he is loving all of this right now. Through 3 and 4 for the last time. Down to the low side, Rafael Eckert, an upset win if there ever was one. He comes off and takes a great victory at Homestead Miami Speedway. Pinero second, and Justin Dorr takes 3rd.
Fantastic from the Brazilian. Opted to go for the track position decided that he was going to control his own fate there and did everything that he was supposed to get the win here. Now, we've seen Eckert put in some good effort, so I don't necessarily want to say it's an upset, but it's definitely I would say a highlight win of Rafael's here, that he could definitely save this replay and keep it one for the record books. And yeah, do your donuts, dude, because you deserve it, and those tires don't need to go any further.
Certainly not. And Rafael Eckert, we all were thinking that Pinero was the guy to beat here, but Eckert takes advantage and just plays his cards as well as he possibly could. He gets himself a great victory, a well-deserved one to be sure.
There he is at probably getting a screenshot taken right there, and then he disappears. So he is getting ready to go celebrate. Let's do tonight's results here from Homestead Miami Speedway, and we'll get into the interview room and see if we have anybody in there that would like to speak with us. But here are your final standings for the Monday Night Indy Fixed here from Homestead Miami Speedway. Rafael Eckert, just a brilliant strategy. Great win. Very impressive. P1. And actually, we were showing his last lap. We'll show the interval to the win there if we can. I don't think it'll show us, but we'll just show none. There we go. But he got the win. Pinero tried as he might with the fresh tires. I think he just was held up by Justin Dorr just enough. So Eckert probably should go by Justin Dorr something, some iRacing bucks or something, because I think without Justin Dorr, I don't think Rafael Eckert necessarily wins this race. Just my opinion, but we'll see. But Rafael Eckert, Adriano Pinero, P2, Justin Dorr with a great podium here in P3 as he gained 9 spots on the day. Eckert himself gained 8 spots on the day. Stephen Lee, fantastic run, up 6 spots from his start, P4. Alexander Ragon, pretty common, pretty just a normal top 10 finish for Ragon, and we've seen from last year's final standings that you don't need a lot of wins to win the Division 1 championship. You just need consistency, and top 5s are definitely ones that pay for consistency. Matt Houston, great finish. He managed to finish up 13. I believe he is our biggest gainer of the day, so congrats to the boss man, P6. Tracia did P7. Bruno Rawanzini, he kind of recovers after some first stint doldrums there to come back to P8. Daniel Farrell, P9. Nathan Solano, we mentioned him. He moved into a top 10 spot. He got himself a top 10. Pablo Diaz-Francis, 11th. Adriano Forporti, 12th. Silva, 13th. Sousa, 14th. Miranda, 15th. Let's get to the next page here. Dakota DeMay with a disappointing 16th. Mark Murphy, 17th. Cesar Cabral with a wreck at 18th. Hamilton Akabrizi, unfortunately, looks like he might have had an incident and eventually just decided to tow and end. He finishes 19th. And Morera and Mercer were caught up in that first lap incident, finished at 20 and 21st, respectively, in this 21 car field. Take a look and see if there's anybody that would like to talk with us.
See Justin Dorr down there.
Justin Dorr. Well, I definitely want to talk with the Commodore. So let's bring him on up. He's on mute. Hi, Commodore. Congratulations, P3. You're on mute though. But tell us about your race first of all, and just tell us about that battle with Pinero at the end, and how did you manage to hold him off for so long? And no.
And no response so far.
There he is. No, he's no.
His mic was unmuted for a second.
You're still on mute. We'll give him a little bit more time here, getting situated. Anyways, we'll go ahead and wait on it. And Justin, when you get in, speak up. But we'll kind of move on here. We don't have any Lionheart commitments tonight. And I'll tell you that last restart was a hell of a lot better than the Speedway restart a week ago. Yeah. I didn't see Eckert getting nervous on that one at all. But let's talk about tonight's race. Go ahead, Steven. Tell us your thoughts on tonight's race, and then we'll talk about next week, and we'll see if Justin's available. We'll talk with him, and then we'll send everybody on their way for this Monday night.
Well, Homestead, it's always something of an odd challenge, really, when it comes to IndyCar competition, really any sort of competition here on iRacing. It's a very unique mile and a half, though it may not look it to the casual observer. It really brings out a more strategic mindset for a lot of these guys, and that was really what won the day for Rafael Eckert. It would have won the day for Pinero if the cards had played out a bit different. It definitely did for the likes of Justin Dorr and Stephen Lee. And these guys really showed how good they are and keeping everything together, keeping things clean, but also very close, very aggressive here, even with a track that was kind of fighting against them when it comes to making good overtakes work here. So this really shows how good the highest caliber of drivers are here in official competition here. A lot of people like to make fun of official racing, of course, but the higher level guys definitely put in high level performances, and especially true here in IndyCar. And we certainly saw that here tonight. And I think we'll definitely see that next time out as we head to Auto Club.
Well, that kind of transitions into what I want to talk about next. Looks like Auto Club for the time being has got a stay of execution. I'm not sure how long of a stay of execution it is, but it's going to at least remain a 2-mile superspeedway for a little bit longer. So we will continue to go there as long as it's on the iRacing service. There we go. It's one of the three. But anyways, we'll continue to go there. But it always seems to be a fan favorite. Why is that?
Well, Auto Club Speedway is one of those tracks that, of course, it's the 2-mile super speedway. A lot of people like super speedways, of course, very similar to Michigan in that regard, though with not as much banking. But I think also the fact that it's a fast track that requires quite a bit of commitment in the corners as well. And of course, it's a very bumpy surface. Of course, they've never repaved that track in its entire existence, and it shows in iRacing. And it leads to close finishes, but also can lead to very strategic driving as well. And of course, I think the history of the place, especially its history for raw speed, really leads to that appeal right off the bat.
Yeah, it's kind of fortunate that place is kind of out in an arid area of California there. Imagine if it had to fight the winners of Michigan, like the Michigan International Speedway, and how bumpy that place would be without them paving it. It'd be like a washboard.
Yeah. It would be, and I think a lot of people would say that at this point it would not match its character, though being realistic about it, at some point it does need to get repaved if it is going to stay the 2-mile super speedway that we know and love, which it seems to be by some indications, at least for now anyway. And at the very least, we'll get to enjoy it for all eternity now in iRacing. So I definitely think that next time out at Auto Club, we're going to have a pretty fun week again here.
Well, there you have it. That's next week. So there you see the top three tonight, Eckert and Pinero, Dorr, best in class. Rafael Eckert, Pinero, the Brazilians 1 and 2. Would like to shout out to our Brazilian friends in chat. As a matter of fact, I was watching on Netflix this week. There's a really cool crime documentary on there was a couple criminals that did a robbery. They dug a tunnel into the central bank in Brazil, and it definitely at the end of the story, see there's no honor among thieves, but definitely a pretty cool story out of Brazil. People want something on Netflix to check that out. It's only 3 episodes, but there you go. My recommendation here via the Brazilians and our Brazilian friends that watch the race with us every week. Well, I think that's going to do it. We're going to get on out of here, give everyone back the rest of their Monday night. So let's do that. So that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium from Homestead, Rafael Eckert, Adriano Pinero, and Justin Dorr. Joined Steven, Jalopniks.com, Ryan Eric King, and myself again next week for race-verse coverage of Round 4 of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split of Season 2 22, coming to you from the aforementioned Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. Coverage begins at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 8:15 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at youtube.com/racefirst. Hey, we love bringing these races to you, but they are not easy, require time and money to produce. Because of your generosity and donations, we've been able to bring you commercial-free coverage of the last 2 fixed Indy seasons. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar and have enjoyed our coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fixed Top Split, please take time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description, and donate to our Season 2 22 Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split Broadcast Fund. We realize times are tough. We've seen the prices of gas, so any contribution will be greatly appreciated. We thank you for watching and making us part of your Monday evenings each and every week. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support us Race First with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more Race First's iRacing programming, including our exclusive Tuesday coverage of the Midwest Kidney Warriors Formula Indy Series and on NTT IndyCar Series race weeks this season. Join us the Friday before the race, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, as we will bring you action from the IndyCar iRacing Series Top Split. Join myself and Turn 4 Racing's Nick Sudik and NHR Esports Isaac Morris as we bring you the action on Race First, right here, Race First, at youtube.com/racefirst. For business inquiries and to learn more about Race First and what we do, visit racefirst.com or follow us on Twitter. You can follow me, Gary Gazzo, on Twitter at Gary Gazzo. So, for Stephen Larkamp, everyone at Race First, I'm Gary Gazzo saying to all good night. Thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Thanks again. Catch us next week at Fontana for the next race of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split. Good night.